The one thing that I would say a lot of individuals face as an issue when they get into tech is, firstly, they don't know where to go. Secondly, they don't know the resources that they have in hand, how to utilize it. Never go beyond that circle. Please start with whatever you. The most interesting part would be the product launch that we did on Product Hunt at Sahu. So I got a chance to understand how in this century, in 2022, in 2023, in this era or this decade, how Product Hunt has emerged. Like the day I got my first stipend, I had my bank manager call my dad and say, "So you need to come to the bank. There is an issue. We cannot pass this check. There's a huge amount that's lying in here. We need to know from this unrecognized source all of a sudden, why is a girl in India getting so much."
Hello everyone, welcome to the new video, and today we have Ankita with us. Hi Ankita,
Hi there.
hope
Thank you
you're
so
doing
much
well.
for having me.
So Ankita requires no description as such. She's a perfect example of women in tech, and we are celebrating the International Women's Day today. So Ankita, just for a brief introduction, could you just provide us a review of over your all journey that you had till late?
I think if I throw some light briefly throughout the entire journey, I probably began my tech journey when I was a toddler, a crawling baby. I simply saw my uncle coding on his PC. At that point of time, it was nothing but just a toy, a fascinating toy that made sounds, that was colorful, that was unique, that I could interact to. But then with time, from crawling baby, I became a toddler. From a toddler, grew up into a kid, and that's when I started, seeing stuff. I started understanding, and then I was probably 8 or 8.5 when I got introduced to my first programming language. That was by then, probably now it's common for every individual. Like you're 8 to 9 years old, parents, or somehow or the other, you get influenced or get to know about any programming language. But for me at that point of time, it was like, okay, I saw C++, Java books stacked up outside my room here and there, because I come from a family of engineers who, no matter where they were, switched into the tech industry. So it has always been, I could say, it's in sort of my bloodline. But then I got this will to get into tech when I was probably in my 11th grade, to be exact. There was a series of seminars that we had, that as individuals we had to participate in and then speak for. So for 2 consecutive years, I got like cybersecurity as a topic once, then we had cryptography as a topic next, and then more stuff added up. So in both the years, I stood up, like, and I spoke. I did a lot of research, and after winning, I thought to myself, like, okay, computer being an optional was a better option than physical education for sure. But now computer seems more interesting. Okay, let's try this out. When I got this career option of choosing something in BTech, I was like, no, it has to be this thing. Because when I went through a gist of the course curriculums, the books and stuff, I was like, no, 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 that's more of that's not my taste, or that's not my cup of tea. Computer science looks more of something I could actually put my heart, soul, and mind into, because it has always fascinated me. So I landed up here. After landing up here, I realized, okay, wow, whatever I had so far was just the tip of the iceberg. There's like so much more I could explore, so much more I could know about. And venturing forward, I got into communities. And to be very honest, today, whatever I am, it's because of communities. They've brought me this far, they've made me the Ankita I am. And anything in my tech journey now on, like, ever since 2020, August 2020, it has all been because of communities and my experiences with them. Currently, I've been doing a lot of stuff in tech that is related to diversity and promoting culture and this and that, and finding products in and around. I've somehow become a hunter not an animal hunter, but somehow a hunter who is looking up and jumping from one boat to the other just to figure out, okay, what's more? What more do you have? I'm like a kid right now. Though I'm 21, I'm like a kid who's trying to explore and get in as many candies I can onto my bucket. So that's all the tech has been for me so far. Like just to put it, so that all the viewers, the amazing set of viewers who are gonna watch this, get to know, because if I start speaking more and more in depth, I think it'll just be about my tech journey and we
Right.
can't go forward. And that's not legit for a podcast. So over to you. I hope that
Exactly,
answers.
really an inspiring journey that you had. And also, you told that you have been engaged with several communities, okay, and the communities were the point wherein you got an opportunity to get in contact with several other opportunities and openings worldwide, right? So, could you just share your experiences? What challenges you faced initially while entering into tech, as well as did you face any bias in communities, which is a common question that the newbies have. So could you just share some light upon that?
Definitely. That's an awesome question, and that always comes up during any event or discussion that happens during this month, because people tend to focus on this area a lot. When I began my journey into tech, there's a lot. As I told you, it's overwhelming. As an individual, when you hop into this industry, it's really overwhelming. You don't know which track to choose. You don't even know, you just know that there are software engineers, but you don't know the different tracks, the different majors they have, what they do, and the university orientations that happen, for God's sake, they're of no use. Trust me, they're of no use. People will kill me, professors will hang me, but trust me, it never tells you this is what you have to do in computer science, or this is what you should love. And then tastes change. So as I said, I was just trying out candies, and till date, I'm doing the same. I'm just figuring out, okay, what is the perfect match for me? And in the meantime, I've started to level up and put stuff in a order. So the most horrible part of beginning, the frustrating part is, what do I begin, where do I begin, and how do I begin? um, for me, when I started with tasting things, I was like, okay, if web dev is something I like, let's also try out iOS or app dev, or let's try out say ML. When I was so confused, suddenly one day, over my LinkedIn, I got a pop up of CS50. Harvard has a CS50 beginner course. So that is my guiding light. I would say that was the point I started. They had plethora of options. They began, teaching with one particular language, that's C. You begin with it. Now it's Python, if I'm not wrong. They've changed the preferences a bit. So you start
Hmm.
with C for like 1 or 2 weeks. You get a hang of it. You start building stuff on your own, and then they give you these plethora of 4 or 5 major options where you want to go. And then for each option, they give you a lot of other things, like test, get a taste of what it feels like, and see if it's your cup of tea. So I tried testing things out. That is when I realized that, okay, my system and server won't even support stuff like Kali Linux softwares, or stuff like running different OSs at a time, testing things. There's a lot that I got to know. So I was like, okay,
Hmm.
now this is a huge set that gets out right now with my current system and PC. Whatever I have, the resources that I have to use it. The one thing that I would say a lot of individuals face as an issue when they get into tech is, firstly, they don't know where to go. Secondly, they don't know the resources that they have in hand, how to utilize it. Never go beyond that circle. Please start with whatever you have. You have plethora of options, with people starting with just their mobile phone and then ending up with big and fat Macintosh systems. So
Exactly, exactly.
it's never your system, it's never the CPU power, it's never how slow it is, or the tools you can access for free, the tools you cannot, the community versions and stuff here in and out. So that's the second thing. So I had to get rid, CS50 helped me get rid of that as well. They had so much, and anyone who's beginning, trust me, there's a reason Harvard has this beginning CS50 course even for their people, and it's freely available for anyone across the globe. So if you're a beginner, or any time in life, if you want to begin, no matter you have a CS degree, you are from a CS background, or you want to just get into this background, anything, even if you're just a noob, start with it. They might not have the most legible language, It's really argumentative. People say they are starting a language and they are giving you the option to go through documentation and stuff and learn by yourself. Trust me, this entire process for any newbie is the best cycle you could do. Hop in, learn something, see something, go to the documentation of that particular language, check things out, test it out that very day. Whatever you learn, test it out. That's the best way you can remember it. Because gone are the days of learning history books. You are no more in standard 10. You cannot mug stuff up and put that in an interview. That won't help. Trust me, that won't help. The best thing is if you learn something, go test out the documentation, build something up, and whatever you build, it'll give you benefit, not just for your GitHub repo or your commit history on GitHub. It would be more helpful when you'll get a content to post on your LinkedIn post or on Twitter. Everyday content aa jata hai udhar se. You don't have to worry. Everything will be of use up here. This was like one of the other things that I faced as an issue. Coming to the biases that I had, see, every community has this hard and fast rule. You have to be inclusive, you have to be diverse, you have to follow community norms. And then it's community norms, it means respecting one another, respecting the thoughts, respecting the level of knowledge you have. Even if you are great in one particular language, you have to understand there are people who are great in other languages as well. If they want to learn your language, be generous, teach it to them or help them out. Because when you want to learn something from them, they'll be helpful. It's a hard and fast rule. You have to give, you have to take. Communities, if there is someone who's ever facing this sort of a bias, feel free to report it to any community manager, whichever community you're in. Trust me, they'll help you out. Something that I was really frustrated about was, you enter a community on Discord, there'll be hundreds of DMs or friend requests coming up the next day. If you're a girl, if you're a boy, it's only going to be ये doubt solve कर दे, ये exam में आ जा, मेरा ये paper लिख दे. Trust me, I have had 2 accounts just to see this. I can give you screenshots. So there are different reactions that you'll get. And for a girl like me, who was born like an ugly duckling, I knew, अच्छा फिर कोई भी लड़की आ गई फोरम में, बस अब तुमसे तो कोडिंग होगा नहीं, तुम डिजाइनिंग कर लो. People out, they never do it inside the community because they know there are trackers, people will see. But outside, solo private messages. So my sincere advice would be, once you see something like that, for any girl out there, if you see someone harassing you that way, either report them or just ignore them. You don't know them, they don't know you, you haven't seen their face, they haven't seen your face. Any time in life, if you ever encounter them, they're not going to do anything. They hardly know anything about you. So when you come into forums or communities or big fat platforms like this, your safety and security is in your hands. What you want or the way you want people to treat you is 101% in your hands. It's for girls especially at this point. I'll come to boys. So anything that goes wrong, you have the right to report. And anything that should not happen the way it's happening is also something in your right. You have to be cautious. See, it's always easy to blame someone, but then prevention is better than cure. So try being as precautious as you can. Community is great. Never fear. See, Sourav is here. He had to, I've had experiences where I was not allowed to go to hundreds of hackathons, live hackathons. But see, thanks to community and experiences and great seniors like him who have taken initiatives to, assure my parents, assure stuff, and then take me. So there are a lot of barriers that come into you because of your gender. First of all, if you're a female, people have a lot of things that they say that, you get benefits. I completely agree. There are a lot of benefits in hiring procedures, but there's a reason why those benefits are put up there. So a lot of girls still don't even give it a try to sit in an interview and practice and even, put that effort because it goes into vain. So rather than having that thought, come to community, see more people like you, you'll get encouraged. Trust me, if you think your life is going worse, their life is harder. So any sort of bias or, biasing situation that ever comes to you, try sharing it with someone who's very close. They'll come up with a solution for you. And it's entirely up to you. For boys, wow. Forums are the best way to get yourself distracted. Communities are the best way to get yourself distracted. I can assure you, I had a friend of mine who was 10 times better coder than me when we entered into uni. And now he doesn't know me, I don't know him. I don't even feel like talking to him because he's stuck with Genshin Impact. If I'm not a gamer. Please, I'm not a gamer. So if even if I'm pronouncing games wrong, please forgive me. My heartiest apologies. But that Valorant and Genshin Impact, they killed him. They killed him. He's destroyed. Trust me, he's destroyed. Great brains going into mud. So there's a lot of what I'm saying is I don't promote people or who say don't play games, life is going to be a mess. Why? You need enjoyment, do it. There's a lot of scope of distractions that you have in communities as a guy. So keep yourself away from distractions. You have the wonders in your god. Like you every person has distractions, but the level of distraction you can allow according to your schedule is important. As a beginner, because you're not into a routine, these things tend to be pleasing and fascinating. But yep, if you grab a hold of this, if you grab a hold of your emotions, everything is going to be in a perfect cycle. And as someone said, I'm not sure who, I can't remember who, but do something for 21 days straight, it'll happen. Like it'll become a habit of you,
Exactly.
and you
Yeah.
cannot get rid of it. Trust me.
Ankita, like I had a question that you had a great internship experience at different tech companies as well as different fellowship programs as well. Could you just share some experiences or maybe like a project that you have been working upon that you really cherish upon?
Wow, those were some amazing words. Well, yes, I do consider myself lucky to haven't gotten into programs and internships and fellowships that gave me great experiences across the globe. But at the same time, I still have the guilt of not making into some of my dream companies after like one or two rounds of interviews or after a certain round of interviews for so and so reasons. So with a hard heart of those coming in, I also have a good packet of things I could discuss about. One of my most memorable experiences undoubtedly has been digital product school. It has undoubtedly been working for the Bavarian State Ministry. So trust me, everyone. I always had this feeling that working as a government employee or as an intern for a government association to build a project for a government, it's never going to happen. बहुत लंबा चौड़ा प्रोसीजर होगा ही नहीं, रूल्स पास करते करते ऐसे लग जाएंगे, होगा ही नहीं. But once I got into this cycle where I got an opportunity to work with the Bavarian ministry, where like, so what digital product school is basically, they have a lot of partners who finance and fund them, and they have a lot of people who come with problem statements. So it's similar to an open source thing, like the way GSOC has it or the way Outreachy has it. You have project proposals, and then people and mentors are assigned. So what digital product school does is they assign you to individuals and partners, and I was assigned to the government. So when I entered, the first thing is every single employee, may it be someone explaining me the problem statement, may it be someone telling me what to do, may it be someone telling me this, that, God knows what not. Everything was in German. I got a heart stroke the very first day I was there. I'm like, why do you have me here? Like, what am I going to do? I'm the only non-German speaker. What will you do with me? Like, where am I going? You won't trust me, their websites are in German, their databases are in German, their API documentations are in German, their products, like if you have a SaaS tool or a product, its documentation is entirely in German. So Google Translate also fails in giving you some
Oh
technical
my
terms
God.
and stuff, and the grammar changes. So it was too overwhelming for me. But I withstanded 6 months. Like first it was a 3 month tenure, and then I got an extension, and I did not continue the extensions because my university never allowed me. The schedules never allowed me. Even if my professors wanted me to go there, they couldn't, because you have exams and you have a structure in India which you can't break, unlike foreign countries. So like, okay, fine, I'm here. The most interesting part would be the product launch that we did on Product Hunt at Savo. So I got a chance to understand how in this century, in 2022, in 2023, in this era or this decade, how Product Hunt has emerged as a platform. It's like, every civil servant aspirant is said, newspaper padho, news channel dekho. Everyone who intends to be a product manager ever in life, or even if you're a software developer who loves to know about tech stuff, trust me, you'll get only tech stuff here at Product Hunt. So I got to explore this platform, learn about this platform, how things work, how products come up, understanding a product journey, product launch journey. We always focus on building something, but when you take it out to the crowd, when you give it to your real audience base, there's a hell lot of work that has to be done. So that was the most amazing thing and the exciting thing in life that I've done. There was a lot of research, there was ground practices that we had to do. We learned a lot. Like, there's no hard and fast rule here that this is how it has to be. Things change, situations change. So testing and tasting things out, if you're an adventurous person, you'll and you were at my position at that time, you would really have loved it. So these were two, like, the most funniest and the most memorable moment that I've ever had.
Wow, amazing, Ankita. Ankita, like,
I
did
don't know
you?
when, I'm sorry
Yeah,
for interrupting. I don't know
sure.
when this goes live, how my ex PM at Digital Product School would react to this. I think the moment he sees this, he would drown in embarrassment. But yeah, I'm sorry. That's the reason I'm not naming people.
Great, yeah. Like Ankita, you mentioned about the digital product school and the experience there. It was really amazing hearing that part, and as well as the product management role that you played at Sahu Labs. So, could you just share us some insights upon how did you came to know about the international fellowship program, as well as what was the entire project that you were working upon, or the experience there?
Cool. Every time someone tells me, okay, it's so exciting to know that you worked on an international project. That's that, and to be exact, we worked on MVP, that's minimal viable product. So we had a prototype running for the exact product that would come up, and there would be big fat organizations like, let's say, IBM, or let's say, other organizations who do consultancies and who build up stuff, who would take it up later on. So when we were building something like this, everyone asks us, okay, what was it? How did you build it? Unfortunately, my mouths have to be sealed up because I've signed a non-disclosure agreement, but I can give you glimpses of how things were in and around rather than going into details. Coming to the part how I actually landed, um, as I said earlier, everything I am, it's all because of communities. So through communities, I got to know. I've made a lot of friends across India and across the globe. So one such friend of mine, who happens to study at Triple IIT Hyderabad, got into this. So she had, like, as you know, Triple IIT Hyderabad had. They have these things like their students go and explore stuff all by themselves all across the globe. So she somehow, from some senior or a friend of hers abroad, got to know about this, or from her campus, she got to know about this and she applied. She got into it, but unfortunately could not be a part of it. So she gave a big fat LinkedIn message, and I saw it. I'm like, okay, sounds interesting. What is this? Every time I see something interesting, I don't go and ask that person first. I see what this organization is about. I search if they have any social pages, they have their own website. Judging on those things, I try and think like, okay, is it worth it? Should I go for it? And then I reach out to the person who was, share, who was through whom I got to know about this. Because see, it's easy to see something and go and ping someone, but that someone you're pinging, because there were thousands of people who have seen his or her post, they ping them. So rather than annoying them, first let's do my set of research and figure out what are the most important things I want to know. And then I went out to her. She's like, okay, this is how you should go about, and falana and and everything. She gave me a big fat checklist. I was like, fine. And she assured me, you'll get into it. Don't worry. I know you, you'll get into it. I'm like, thumbs up. I entered. So you have this entire, any international program that you have, be cautious. In most of the international programs, which are stipend based, you also have to pay certain amount from your own pocket. Do not fall into this trap. It's not a trap exactly. They had their reasons for doing it, but when you are giving a service and they are giving you a stipend, that stipend is what you own. You shouldn't pay them in any means. See, I'm a big fat advocate of people not paying interns. If you're not paying me for my hard work, you better tell me that project is very good. which I'm contributing to, and it's worth putting. Because see, I have had organizations I've worked for free of cost. There have been 2 to 3 organizations, and it's even after me getting lakhs a month, being paid lakhs a month for one project. I've also worked for projects that pay me nothing in a month, because I know somewhere or the other I'll fill my pocket. I know how to do freelancing and stuff, and I'll get this financial thing settled. But when things come to the project that you're working on, they had great idea. They were a startup and they did not have the funding at that point. They were like, we will pay you once we get a clearance. So I was like, fine, go ahead. And I gave it a try. It was amazing. It was amazing working with them. Then I switched on to another platform, but unfortunately, because of my prior commitments to other stuff, I had to say them a no. So there have been instances where I've worked free of cost, but when you go international, rules apply, costs apply, bank policies, taxes. You won't trust me what not comes into picture. Like the day I got my first stipend, I had my bank manager call my dad and say, "So you need to come to the bank. There is an issue. We cannot pass this check. There's a huge amount that's lying in here. We need to know from this unrecognized source all of a sudden, why is a girl in India getting so much." So they first thought I'm into some terrorist organization. Those people are sending me money. Okay, they did not pass my check for weeks in a row. I had to give so many documentations, and people had to do a lot to get things cleared. But fortunately, it was settled. So there's a lot. You have no idea what's in your way when you apply for international fellowships. There are trustworthy things. Every time you go for an international fellowship or you hear about it, please try tracking down people who have been a part of it. Take a gist of do's and don'ts from them and then apply for it. That's what I did. So I was into safe hands. And yep, that's how I heard, that's how I applied. So basically, DPS is like, you apply, they have tenures, like MLH fellowship cohorts, they have cohorts. So you have to apply for a particular cohort. You have to apply 3 to 4 months prior to that cohort, and you have a 2 to 3 months wait time. Bhaiya has also applied for it, so he knows it pretty well, and he's gotten selected. That's a different issue. He did it, he did not do it, he take it up, he did not take it up, based on the hectic schedule he has. But so what happens is, you apply for it, you wait for 2 to 3 months. They reach out to you saying, okay, you've qualified, we like your CV, we like your resume, we like your portfolio, we want to interview you. Then comes the interview round. The interview round varies from individual to individual, and it varies from cohorts to cohorts. Basically, it's about them getting to know you, your technical skill set, your projects and stuff. And there's a different thing. Like there are different ways you can get into, like different things they can ask you in the interview. But for me, it was like pretty straightforward, going through my projects, some questions in and around, a bit of tech side, like how could you improve it, what you could have done, this and that. Then some, I would say, not DBMS questions. Definitely, I did not have DBMS questions, but I had situational questions. Whereas, how do you do scalability and stuff? You expect that in certain interviews, and that was not much of a task because it was low level. It was system, but it's not low level. It was high. Like you don't have minute system design questions there, but it was okay for me.
Basic one.
For some people, it was nothing, because their GitHub repos were far better than mine. Their repos, like they were GSOC participants, they had come after doing GSOC and after 4 to 5 years of open source experience. So definitely you have nothing to ask them. You can see their work up there. For me, like you don't have a prior international experience and stuff. You don't have much of engagement. They had different questions and such for me at that point of time. That's how things went at DPS. I think that's all about the journey that happened in DPS, or like the thing. Now after you clear, the best thing that can happen to you have an international crowd, people from tons, from different continents, from different countries, from different cultures. And DPS is jam packed. They have 8 hours of work. A lot of people don't apply to DPS thinking एक दिन में 8 घंटा काम मेरे से नहीं होगा, मैंने मर जाना है. Trust me, those 8 hours, if you sit and do it, you're not just going to develop as a developer, you are also going to develop this habit of being constant and being, you get into that entire cycle of constantly focusing, researching, and doing. And those 8 hours or eight working hours that you put in each day, it's not just working. It's also about prototype development, team meetings, how do you develop, agile methods, and a lot more. So I got into this entire cycle of, wow, till date, I had a PM who gave me commands or a Jira ticket. This is what you have to do. I'm making my own Jira tickets. Amazing. I am commanding my team. No, 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 that's not happening. You have to change the policy. I won't do it. I'm going and seeing the designer. See, every time you tell me ये 100% डिजाइन का रेप्लिका नहीं है, I also have a right now. ये चीज नहीं बन पाएगा इस बजट इन इस टाइम पीरियड के साथ ये चीज नहीं बन पाएगा प्लीज ट्राई बीइंग प्रैक्टिकल so you have a say there it's not like you can command there you should never command your fellow colleagues but the thing is you have a say there here in a lot of organizations I've seen my friends struggle as well you don't have a say पत्थर की लकीर है you're told to do this you're told to do this those 8 hours will never go away so that whole journey of learning from different people understanding stuff seeing the way a product develops there's no other place on earth which will tell you how a product develops or where you'll see or you'll build a product develop through weeks 3 months is a very short time to build an MVP as well based on the problem statements that come in from that option or that cycle but they give you a taste of everything you might need in life
Indeed.
as a developer and you being someone who's starting out I think that's one of the best programs you could go into I have learned a lot I've grown a lot so after DPS all the internships or freelancing projects that I've taken up trust me my clients have told me or my managers have told me you are far more efficient and professional compared to the professionals we've had for 8 years how is a kid who is they consider me a kid in a lot of organizations they still they've given me this name kiddo because I was the youngest in the entire team like I was 19 when I was in one particular team and they were like hey kiddo I'm like yeah I get it I definitely get it you're not just 2x you're 3x older than me I completely get it but then yeah that is the level of experience DPS has given me. You have to understand and respect people. You have to put your say into stuff. Everything you preach in I Am Remarkable, you can test it out at DPS. Free open space. Test it out. These people are so welcoming. I don't know why, people say that Ankita to DPS ka prachar karti hai. I'm like, no, trust me. Every person needs this once in life. At least go till the interviews you'll understand what I mean. If you sit in that particular interview, you'll understand. Even their tech interviews are wowsome. They're really wowsome. So, and the projects, undoubtedly, like Unda Dhasu level ke projects aate hain, which you can try and build up. So having something like that on your portfolio is a big, big, big plus. I think I could speak for days about DPS and my experiences. They were amazing, the bad ones, the good ones. One thing I would definitely like to share, I had two instances. Every DPS team has two engineers, one AI engineer, two AI engineers. So they have at least more than one engineer in their team. I also had more than one engineer in my team. Unfortunately, his skill set and my skill set did not match. Unfortunately, whatever the product demanded, his skill set did not match. So he was like, I came across a new concept. We know pair programming, where two people simultaneously code in one thing. There was a different version of pair programming that I found, and that my the mentors out there at DPS told us. They said if your partner in your project does not have the required skill set, do not make them feel low. Never make them feel low. Rather, bring them with you to a pair programming session where you code and tell them why it's done. At least it will give them that enthusiasm. Okay, I can also learn. I know how this is working. Let me learn and try and come back. So that gives that other person a boost. When you're working in an organization, it's not always just about you. If you're working in an organization, it's also about the organization. When you're building a product, it's not about you getting a promotion after this product only. It is also about that product being successful at the first place. Promotion to दूर तक आएगा नहीं जब तक product ही नहीं होगा तुम्हारे हाथ में. When your team is not successful. So those team player things that you learn at DPS, the things that they tell you, you'll not find anywhere else. You have highly competitive environments in India, but out there people are very generous. So I had mentors who sat down for hours and who have told me, Ankita, your code could be improved this and this way. They did not put comment lines only. They told me why, how, and gave me instances. And they were there while I was coding. So those instances that you get, that sort of guidance and mentorship that you get from industry professionals, they are people who have worked for 20, 30 years. They are people who have had great amount of experience in hand and pocket. So learning from them is like, I'll really become a cheerleader. I'll be like, yay, DPS, Jar DPS, come
Exactly.
DPS. But yeah, please, it's not just about me saying. Every single person I've recommended DPS, every single person who has come back after my recommendation from DPS, they've been like, क्या performance
True,
दिया
true,
था?
true.
क्या
Very true.
like DPS छा गया. So I would say go ahead, try it, and then come back and tell me what were your thoughts. There's no way you won't like it. There might be instances that won't match to your mindset, but yeah, there's no way you won't like it. You'll love it. You'll never find something like that for your experience level. Mind it. Like you have so many opportunities in India that provide equal or far better environments, but not for your experience level. We are not individuals who have 3+ years of experience, at least 3+ years of experience to get that amount of exposure. So all the best.
Exactly. Having a similar experience, I totally relate, and the amount of experience that DPS provides, the various projects that we work upon, it's totally beyond our imagination. For especially for freshers, I won't believe there are no other such instances wherein we can have a similar experience. Yeah. So Ankita, you mentioned about I am remarkable. Okay, so I had read about a lot many posts in LinkedIn that mentioned about their people's experience having attending some programs of I am remarkable, and how it changed their it had brought a change into the life, being more remarking oneself. So could you just tell or share some insights upon your experience being as a I'm Remarkable facilitator, as well as what were the major takeaways that you had?
Sure. So, in this tech industry that we are in right now, it's not just about your technical skills, it's also about your interpersonal skills. And a lot of people who are into tech, so I'm not saying it out of the blue, there are studies which say uh, tech usually has more of introverted people or people who tend to become introverted. So, your work hours, your schedules usually make you more silent with time. You only react with one thing, that's your PC, or with individuals through your PC. You don't virtually communicate a lot, so that kills your confidence altogether. I am remarkable gives you that confidence. It's like it's not a super pill which you intake and get results out of the blue. It's more of a gradual process of letting someone learn and understand their own worth. Every person in this world today knows they are worth here, but their circumstances and situations and environment has made them feel that they are worth here or nothing, nil, less, zero. So for individuals like that to give them or to make the society or the industry more adaptable and more inclusive, diverse, understanding, you have these sessions. There's a great misconception when I, initially heard about I'm Remarkable. I was like, Acha, another campaign for women out there. And I was like, हाँ but Google has entirely women based campaigns, right? तो एक और निकालने का these people are not crazy who are sitting up there. They don't take out initiatives out of the blue for nothing. Trust me on that. They are not billion-dollar companies for no reason. So I was like, okay, let's research. I went to the website, as I said. I go to the website. I checked out stuff, and I was like, okay, it's for every single gender who feels they're not confident enough. It's for every single, person who thinks that he or she is not heard. They are not heard. Let's be inclusive here. When we are saying and talking so much about inclusivity, any single gender who feels that okay, I'm not being heard, my confidence is not up to that mark because of so and so reason or stuff like that. I'm remarkable gives them that thing. They teach you how to react, enact, and be in the public. They teach you. They don't give you dictatorship like directions. This is what you have to do. They tell you this is where you are, but how about you try something and go there? This thing, this how about you do this is something I would take away from I am remarkable, because every single organization I've been associated to who has been doing, diversity and cultural related stuff, they don't say how about. They're like, this is what should be done, this is what is good to do. They don't say how about you try this see the difference, and then think of implementing it. So this entire idea of getting to know yourself, giving yourself some time, understanding and developing your skills, that's, I think, according to me, what I am remarkable is. And you should, if you're someone who feels they're left out, if you're someone who feels, you're not heard, if you're someone who feels you're neglected, or people have made you feel you're worth nothing, you must remember, this is where you could probably find a place to go back to where you were and who you were. Boosting and motivating yourself. You don't need a motivational speaker. I'm not closing anyone's business, okay? You Everything is not meant for everyone. So someone who's at that point of life, you don't need a motivational speaker at that point. You need to deep dive inside yourself and figure out what's wrong with you and then fix it. Someone who needs a motivational speaker is someone who's actually depressed for different other reasons, or has suicidal tendencies or thoughts, or things are not working out for so and so reason. You need them. But if you're at this point where people are in the taking you down just because you can't express yourself, or just because you are you in some manner, this is where you should actually be and try things out. I think that's all I would share from my experience, because I am still not a gold or platinum tier ambassador. I still have to learn more. Every time you get into these events, you get to learn from the people you're training or expressing yourself with. And to be there, you actually have to have a self reflect on yourself and then be there, because you can't say someone do this until you've not tried it yourself. You cannot compel someone to do it. Just because I've done something, I can compel you right now that please do this, because I assure you I've done this and this is how I've changed. So there you go.
Even if you open LinkedIn, you can find a hell lot of content about how people have changed through the program. Yeah, indeed. So expressing yourself through interpersonal skills is also equally important as much as the technical skills that you possess. So Ankita, for me, it's a bit interesting to know that how did you apply for a product management role at Sahu Labs, and what did the role overall involve? What was your key accountabilities or responsibilities, and overall the experience? Could you just summarize it?
This make a timetable or jot down all this somewhere and figure out what's best for you. Prepare for it with your whole heart and you'll be there. If you're a woman and you are entering into this industry, please keep in mind all the struggles you've gone till date to be here. And if you have any issue anywhere, keep your struggles in mind to move forward. The major issue with women is you start out but you leave it midway. Don't leave it midway. If you've struggled so hard for this, there's nothing that should stop you from going